Dave, how you doing, my boy?
Yeah, I'm grateful to be alive, man. It's a gift, feeling real strong,
Right,
feeling real good, man.
right.
Happy to see you,
Nah, for
Welcome
sure.
to New York City. You dig?
Yeah, it's been like 2 years.
It's been a minute. It's
Yeah.
been a minute. I think last time I was down in Miami, that was for my birthday, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was for my
Was
birthday.
it?
I think so, yeah. That was for my
It been
birthday.
that long?
I think
That's
so.
crazy.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So, but Miami, shout out everybody in Miami. It's love out there. It's a good time every time we go. So second
Yeah.
home for sure.
We had a lot of fun days in Miami when Dave come through. When Dave come through, it's a party for sure. little
It's just a
vibe.
time. It's a time, man. It's a time. It's a moment, and we're grateful for that moment. And we just, fighting the urge for another moment.
For
You
sure.
dig?
Yeah, because we definitely. I remember we was. I took you to Key Biscayne.
Oh, keep his game,
Yeah. We was to
yeah.
Key Biscayne. I said, look, you have to listen to Sade in
Yeah,
Miami.
Sade is a different vibe. Whatever highway that was, that was a vibe. Like
Right.
when we came back into Miami, like fire. That was a
Right.
vibe. Sade hits different. Windows down. Looking at the Miami skyline, like that's fire. That was a
Yeah,
vibe for sure.
yeah.
I won't ever forget that for sure.
So, for people who don't know where we at, tell the people where we at right now.
Where we are right now, it's a place of peace and serenity.
Mm-hmm.
Ruggedness, grit. you know, Beautiful vibes. We in Harlem, USA right now. We right now
Yes,
in the
sir.
live territory of patio sessions.
You hear the
So
background.
yeah, you hear the background. We out here. Just making it shake. That's it.
Right.
Living life.
For
But we
sure.
here in Harlem, USA, New York City. Holla at me.
For sure. Well, before we even start the interview, I just want to start off by saying how you doing today. What's your,
Yeah.
how's your day so far?
Yo, honestly, the day is amazing, man. I started off, prayer first and foremost. Gotta talk to your higher being, and had a couple meetings today. They all went well, so it was good, man. The day is starting perfect, bro. Like, and it's gonna keep going perfect, because you control your joy, man. Don't let nobody steal it. You dig?
Amen to that. Amen to that. So, for people don't know who you are, introduce yourself and explain to people who is Dave Lewis McArthur.
Yeah. So I'm Dave Lewis McArthur. I am a humble man. I'm grateful to be connected to a lot of dope people in this world. People that could speak highly for me, people that could speak into rooms that I'm not in. Um, Currently in the alcohol space, and that's a space that's really been embracing me. So working for a lot of major brands, alcohol brands out here in the world. When it coming, God's will, I'll be launching my own brand. That'll be open to the people. If you like good, you know, rosé, gin, tequila. That's gonna be coming your way in a smooth way. But yeah, man, I'm just a humble guy, just trying to be better than I was yesterday, man. That's all it is.
Right. Right. So, I want to start off with your upbringing. Explain to the people where you're originally from and what was your upbringing like.
Yeah, so upbringing, man. Streets of New York, and it was my family. I was, I got two younger sisters. They were born a little bit later. But growing up, man, it was just like my family just always told me to just be a stand-up kid, speak how you feel, be able to back it up with facts, don't let your emotions get the best of you. So that was always my upbringing, staying clean, being on time, looking people in their eye when you talking to them, listen. I still struggle with that. So that's one communication breakdown always happen. But long story short, I'm working on that. Just trying to make sure I could be a better person every day. And that was always my mentality that my moms and my pops kind of instilled in me at a young age. Playing with Legos, watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hey Arnold, I seen it all. 106 in Park, I seen it all. Like, just think about my lifetime. You know what I mean? But that was my upbringing. My upbringing was just really, having the latest Jordans when you walking into school. Sometimes I ain't get some of those, but
Right.
had that flyness. Always, paid attention in school. Played basketball, ran track. Just been a all around, kid. growing up, and now I'm a young man, and I think the opportunities that I've been embraced with, made me who I am today. So
Right.
truly, truly blessed. So shout out to moms and pops for sure.
Right. So, me knowing you for quite some time now, um, I know you in the marketing space and stuff like that. So, can you tell me, like, especially growing up in New York,
Yeah,
what was like the steps to getting to where you at, from a
man,
child to a young
man.
adult, or child, teenager to a young adult?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a great question, and it's no straight pathway. It's been peaks and valleys. It's been left turns, right turns,
Right.
turn around, back, take 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. All of that. So how I landed in the marketing space, it was just more of an opportunity. I started out, really into fashion and architecture in my high school days. Really wanted to kind of become an architect. I remember when I was graduating from high school, everybody was like, "Oh, yo, Dave, you gonna come back to New York?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna come back to New York. We're building a building in Times Square in New York City." Obviously, that didn't happen, but we working on owning a few more buildings. So, but with that mindset, I just had the directness to just kind of go forward and just chase whatever I wanted. So how I landed in the marketing space was an opportunity in fashion. I started out in fashion before I came into the beverage alcohol industry. So I worked at brands like Michael Kors, Hugo Boss, John Varvatos, Bloomingdale's. So I seen it all, from men's luxury fashion to women's luxury fashion, to tailored suits, to cut and sew, to even dabbling into a little, I wouldn't call it streetwear, but men's fashion was taking a lean into streetwear culture. So, I was able to connect with some folks that were doing a lot of big things in the streetwear culture during that time. And, I was able to kind of help out some friends on the cannabis side and help them with their marketing, just more online marketing. And I felt like that was a niche for me. I love how people engage on the online space. I know I get yelled at because I don't post much on social media, but I'm a real person in person.
Right.
But the online space has made it very lucrative for a lot of people, and I was able to kind of indulge into that by thinking about how people shop online, how people engage online. Whether if it's liking items, whether if it's shopping for items, or sending messages. I got into that e-commerce space because it was a space that people weren't really, that people that look like me, they wasn't really in that space. We was always taught to be the brand ambassadors, but never on the marketing teams or the marketing strategy. So I just wanted to kind of insert myself in that room. I'm not the biggest dude, but I'm 5'9", but in reality I'm fucking 10 feet tall. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always try to insert myself in those rooms and learn from people and be a sponge to kind of get into this e-commerce marketing, even into this marketing space, because there's so much that goes behind just the campaign that you see on a billboard,
Right.
or a product that's in market, or something that drops online, a social media post. It's really a lot of intuitiveness, strategicness, and really thought, being a thought partner with a lot of people. I think a
Right.
lot of people don't really know that. They just see the end result. But I
Right.
think the end result is fantastic. But I think getting to that end result, that ideation, that maturation, and then that execution, I think that's really huge. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's what really got me in, long-winded. That's what really got me into this, this e-commerce space and marketing. So,
I'm glad you said that, because I didn't know that myself.
Yeah.
Me knowing you,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because that kind of motivated me, because I'm about to go into the marketing space myself. I'm actually going to school for it back
Yep.
home. So it's just,
Congrats on that too.
yeah, for
You know what I
sure,
mean?
for sure. And let's talk about like the steps in getting into that space. A lot of people, you made a valid point on, like, people think we only see the end result, but talk about the steps of getting into that field for
Yeah.
the people, because we live in a digital age right now where a lot of people think you make a post and
It's everything.
and
It's
that's
everything.
it.
Yo, I did my work.
So talk
Nah,
about the steps to
yeah.
get into that field.
I mean, I think the steps is going to be, in my opinion, I think the steps is going to be different for everybody. But I think if you kind of stay disciplined in these realms of steps that I'll share,
Or I would say the
yeah,
steps that. What was the steps of you getting
for
into
sure,
the
for
field,
sure.
rather?
And you know, the steps for me is just really like, you know, thinking about it, you know, envisioning it, and then really going after it.
Right.
So going after it, people be like, oh yeah, go out, get the bag. Cool, I hear you on that, you know, but like really going after it, being disciplined, researching, asking questions. You know, some people, you know, us as humans, no matter your race, creed, orientation, anything like that, but I think us as humans, sometimes we fall short of, you know, asking questions because we don't want to look like we don't know. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to look, oh, I know everything. Da da da. I tell you straight up, I don't know everything.
Right.
But I think asking questions is in my steps is that curiosity. So I think really finding and exploring curiosity, that would be a first step. You know, really, oh, do I want to go into marketing? Do I want to market a fashion brand? Do I want to market a couch? Whatever it is that you want to market, understand, you know, ask questions. I think that's the big thing. A lot of people don't ask questions, and I feel like that's what stunts people's growth, you know, just having that curiosity. So I think that would be the first step in, you know, asking those questions. And I think like secondly is just really aligning with your heart, you know, really aligning with yourself. Like, you know, is that something that I really want to be involved in? Do I have the work ethic? Do I have the dedication? You know, anything like that? Like, I think that's important because you could ask a million and one questions, but if you don't have the work ethic or the information that you're retaining, you know, and applying it, I think it's different for a lot of people. So I think one, have curiosity. Two, you know, really find it within yourself. I'll say three, you know, really associate yourself with people. I think, you know, a lot of people say that birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
You know, if you're around, you know, people that are doing bad things, you probably gonna end up doing those bad things. But if you're around people that's doing good things, you're gonna reap the benefits of those good things. So I think like, you know, associating yourself with people, you know, in that manner. And not, you know, clout chasing or anything like that, but just really, you know, being your authentic self and just being socializing with those people,
Right.
is gonna get you to that next step. I think fourth is really, if it was a fourth step, I think for me is just really going out and trying. A lot of people don't try. You know, a lot of people just kind of sit back like, oh, like I'm not ready yet. Da da da. Sometimes you just gotta try. You just gotta let it fly. You know what I mean? Throw paint on the wall and see what sticks. You know what I mean? I think we're all, no matter, you know, who you are, where you from, what you did, what you didn't do. I think we all have peaks and valleys, and I think, you know, the most important thing is just really going out and trying. And even if you try and you fail, like, it's a learning lesson. And if you take it as a learning lesson, that you never really took a L. You know, you just took a lesson. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that was it's crazy because when you talking, I'm just like
Yeah.
visualizing myself going to school, actually trying it.
Yeah,
know
you
what
gotta
I'm saying?
try.
And really pursuing it, because I feel like the misconception of marketing is they think that, oh, like I said earlier, you just make a post and you know you just hope that it's gonna sell itself.
It's gonna sell itself.
But nah, it's a thinking process, a lot of planning to it, like
Yeah.
you said earlier. But let's talk about your journey.
Yeah.
Your journey from because I know that you went to school in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your college experiences as a young adult and transitioning into, you
Yeah.
know, to where you're at today.
So it's crazy. When, you know, younger self, you know, I ain't have as many gray hairs as I have today. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, so younger self, I wanted to become an architect. I really was fascinated with Legos. I was always building stuff. You know, I wanted to kind of design stuff. You know, that was just always my thing. So I ended up going to Arizona State University for my undergrad, really focusing on architecture. I didn't make it to the upper division for architecture. You know, it was like fucking 400 kids. And they only choose, like, I think they only chose 80 kids. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those 80 kids.
All right.
So, you know, at the time, I personally think my guidance counselor, she was really heaven sent, because this is the time, Amazon is getting popping. A lot of people didn't know about that. Amazon's getting popping. So Amazon was the one that was really kind of, I wouldn't say they started the wave of online e-commerce, but they were on the brink of it. They covered a lot of territory of launching e-commerce. So my guidance counselor was like, yo, you should step into e-commerce. You should step into digital media marketing. So I was able to kind of dive into that, and really explore that realm, with the minor in urban planning. So I still wanted to design, didn't get into the upper division for architecture, but I still, my guidance counselor guided me in the urban planning, but I ended up, moving into the digital multimedia space, from Arizona State. Graduated from there. Arizona State was a good time, so shout out ASU, Sun Devils, let's go. You know what I'm saying? But, I think my time at Arizona, leaving New York, going to Arizona, it was really a whirlwind. It really taught a lot about myself. I threw a few parties. If you know about some of the Modeloo parties, they was good. But I threw a lot of parties, fashion shows, talent shows, and all of that stuff, and connected with a lot of dope people. And then when it was time for me to graduate, I ended up coming back to New York. And my pops, and if you know me and you met my pops is real thorough, real straightforward. Like, yo, he's always gonna ask you, what you doing? Why you doing it? Like, what does it make sense? So my pops was like, yo, you come back to New York, you gotta get a job. So I didn't have a job, I didn't have a job, I didn't have no money, nothing like that. So I ended up getting a gig at Michael Kors. It was an internship. So when I told my pops, like, yo, Dad, I was like, yo, I got an internship. He was like, is it paying? I was like, nah, it's not. He was like, you ain't got no job then. And I was like, but I do. I gotta be there every day. So he wasn't vibing with it. But how I got there, it was just more of, that was that transition. I had to have that fight or flight moment. Like, where do I want to go? Obviously architecture, that ship has sailed. What do I want to do? How do I want to make a living of this world on this time on this earth that I do have? And it was just really getting into the fashion game. Women's fashion was big at that time. I mean, it's always still big, but I was learning a lot from Michael Kors, because Michael Kors was one of the first brands. A lot of people don't know this, but Michael Kors is one of the first brands that sold an item online that was over $10,000 during this time. So it was Michael Kors handbags. So handbags, if you know, probably around probably the 20, I would say call it 2011, probably 2013, Michael Kors was really big in the handbag game. Of course you got your Birkins, you got all that other stuff, but like Michael Kors was really big on the game, and they was really, really leading the charge. If you look at sales, Rob reports and all of that, you look at sales of what Michael Kors was doing, they was doing a really big thing at that time. And I was part of that. I was doing online e-commerce merchandising. So really setting up the website, making it shoppable. So when you talk about UX and UI, I was there. I was learning. I was a student of the game right then and there. So that's what kind of propelled me, because it was like people are spending loads of money online. Back then when you got this money, you kind of walking up and be like, yo, here's the money, give me my item. People were spending, $5,000-$10,000 plus and waiting for their item to be received. In some cases, some people are not comfortable with that. Some people want to receive it instantly.
Especially around that time.
Yeah, especially around that time. You know what I mean? And obviously, if you obviously you're gonna share this out to people, but people want everything instantly today. But during that time, you spending that loads of money, you had to wait maybe 7, 15 business days to get that item.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you blowing that bread and you waiting 7, 15 days to get that item. So it was a learning experience, because consumers, they had the funds and they didn't care, because they wanted to be the first ones to have it. So that kind of triggered me to think about, okay, how is this e-commerce marketing space really evolving? How can I be ahead of the curve? How can I be an early adopter? And I just always thought about myself, just inserting myself into these e-commerce spaces, because I know people are shopping online, people want to be engaged online, and as you look at it today, you know, we live in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? Like we
Really?
here, everything is online. But you know, that's what it kind of boils down to of just, you know, getting me into that door, and just kind of looking at it from that perspective.
Right.
You know?
So damn, that's crazy because
I'm sorry I went on a tangent.
no,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
people
Like,
need to
you know,
hear this.
you know
People
what I
need to
mean?
hear this because it gives you perspective of how it was back then and your upcoming or your coming up
Yeah.
stage of your life, and then also just hearing you talk about your dad,
Yeah.
that stage of like, you
You
know,
need a job.
yeah,
You broke.
especially like black parents, you know,
For sure. You already know. You already know.
So
My pops wasn't having that. He was like, yo, listen, you need to get money,
mhm.
and you need to make sure you got money, you know, all the time in your pocket, you know. So that was just always something to my dad. And he did it jokingly, but it was more of a father figure, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just making me stay on my A game.
Okay, so you talked about Michael Kors and your internship there. So what was next after the Michael Kors and to lead
I'll tell
into
you.
your big gig or whatever?
Yeah, so, you know, what was next? You know, so Michael Kors was an internship. I wasn't getting any money. Not to knock it. Like, a lot of people think you always got to get money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was my pops, you know. He was putting that pressure like, yo, you need to get a job. So I had some friends in the fashion industry. They was like, yo, Dave, there's a job at Hugo Boss. You know, so it was really doing kind of like their digital merchandising, something similar to what I was doing on an internship level, but I could get a check, you know. So end up going to Hugo Boss. And plus, you know, at this time, my young-minded self, I was like, yo, I don't want to be doing women's fashion anymore. Like, I wanted to get into men's fashion.
Right.
And I started working at Hugo Boss on, you know, their e-commerce side of things. And the good thing about it was I never really got suits like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of people see me in nice suits today, but that was when I started working at Hugo Boss. That's when I really started getting fly suits. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm talking about shirts, ties, all of that, like real fly, tailored shit, like learning fabric and everything. So I got a job at Hugo Boss. And Hugo Boss was a good time, man. It was a good time, and you know, it taught me a lot about like men's fashion. Really taught me more, if anything, it taught me how to dress as a man. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like I didn't know how to dress or anything like that. Like, you know, we all fly or whatever.
Right.
But it really taught me how to understand tailored garments. You know what I mean? Like tailored garments. What is a tailored suit? What is a single piece? What is a double breasted? What is a, you know, three piece? What does that look like? What's the length of your sleeves? How long you should tie your tie? Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, things of that nature. You know, what's your neck size? Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding that about like a tailored garment. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of people don't really know that. So I had to understand my measurements, how to measure, you know, chest, shoulder, back, you know, all of that. So I think at Hugo Boss, it really taught me how to like dress as a businessman, as a man, because I think like, yeah, we could wear fly shit, like we casual and shit, whatever. But when you gotta put on a suit and you gotta tie a tie, I ain't gonna pull nobody card. But a lot of my homies may not know how to tie a tie.
Right.
And I ain't knocking them. I love them. I tie the ties for them because they my mans, they my brothers. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't really know how to tie a tie because one, they didn't grow up with a father in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I'm not knocking nothing. That I'm just you know, stating the facts of most people don't know how to tie ties. There's over 168 ways to tie a tie, and I learned that from Hugo Boss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I think with all these corporate jobs, you got to understand, you got to take what you can and give what you can. You know what I mean? Because they don't, you know, no disrespect. And wherever this interview goes, people know I'm a stand-up guy. But, you know, these companies, you there for a season, then you out for a season. You know what I'm saying? So I think Hugo Boss was one of the roles that got me into learn how to dress like a man, understand men's fashion, understand tailored garments, understand suits, understand, you know, what it is to do formal attire, you know, gala attire. It taught me that.
Right.
You know, how to pack a suit, how to travel with a suit, you know, how to wear a suit when you on a plane. You know what I'm saying? How to fold your jackets. Like these little these little like
Details.
small minor details that people don't really teach you how to do a jacket. What fabrics are lighter? What fabrics are heavier? When do you wear wool? When do you wear cotton? When do you throw in this type of polyester? What is a Pima cotton? What is a Super 100 fabric? Like, I mean, I'm just rattling off shit of things that I learned. But Hugo Boss, that's what got me really into the fashion, men's fashion, learning that. Then I started exploring John Barbados. John Barbados was cool, rugged, cool, kind of rock star lifestyle. Might not make it. So shout out to JV, man, John Barbados himself. He was a cool dude. We did a couple events with Future. So shout out to Future. So John Barbados was really the fun time. I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of cool things with, believe it or not, John Barbados was one of the first brands led by me and our team. We were one of the first brands to do the click to buy on Pinterest.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people didn't know Pinterest during this time when I was at John Barbados. And this is what I want to say, like I'm probably at John Barbados, 2014, 2015. Pinterest was only just a blog or kind of like a Tumblr during the time. So people that know Tumblr, I feel like if you was a Tumblr head, you was a MySpace head too. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Especially around that time.
I'm aging myself, but I'm all right. I'm aged like fine wine, baby. So it's good, But yeah, man, like talking about like men's fashion and getting to John Barbados. John Barbados was really strong with the cologne during this time.
Wow.
They were really doing a men's fragrance and things of that nature, but they were also doing a lot of like leather jackets, like leather pants, like cool shit, like, I'm in the spot, like kind of New York gritty shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But
go ahead.
That's my forgive me to cut you off, but that's interesting because so you've seen the transition into the e-commerce space, and there's a shopping space, it's just the consumerism spaces from over time to what it is now, and that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people forget around that time, it was kind of harder to shop. People were still going to malls. People were still going to these spaces to where it is now, to where it's like you said, Amazon wasn't the first person to do X, Y, and Z.
They was exploring it.
But they was exploring it to where like they made it to where it's like everything's instant. 2 day shipping.
2 days, next day.
Yeah. But now transitioning into this, excuse me, what led you, from outside looking in, just hearing your story, I feel like those elements of your career, those led into the wine and spirit industry.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think that for me, outside looking in as a friend as well, that was like the boss up.
Yeah, honestly, and I'll tell you, man, like real talk, like obviously in the fashion days, fashion, entertainment, and alcohol go together.
Right.
And I say that respectfully, you know what I mean? I know there's, things out there, whatever, but I say that respectfully. But fashion, entertainment, and beverage, alcohol, wine and spirits, champagne, they all mix.
Right.
When it comes from a marketing strategy, if you have a marketing head on, it comes from that strategy. So when I was in my fashion days, everybody was like, yo, like, have you ever thought about alcohol? And I was like, yeah, man, I always wanted to get involved with it because I used to go, like, during this time, New York City will be hot. Like, happy hours after work, people go to all these different pop-up events all around the city. Soho, all of that. So when I was at these fashion openings, these launches of new products and things of that nature, obviously wine and spirits was there. And I was like, damn, like, I want to learn how to make cocktails. I want to learn what's the difference between a Merlot and a Cabernet Sauvignon, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to know the difference between a rosé and what makes a rosé. What's the difference between tequila and mezcal? All of that. I wanted to learn that. You know what I mean? I was just, once again, going back to my steps that I said earlier, having curiosity. And I was like, yo, like, how can I get involved into this? So I always try to connect in the spirits game until I got a job at Pernod Ricard.
Okay.
So shout out to the folks at Pernod Ricard. they really got me into the alcohol space, learning a lot. Pierre Jouet, traveling to France, traveling to Ireland, trying Jameson from the barrel, like, you know what I'm saying? Redbreast. This is another Irish whiskey. I tried a whiskey that was fucking 30 years old, you know what I'm saying? And understanding the process, seeing the distilleries and seeing that, I was mesmerized. I was blown away. You know what I mean? And seeing that what comes in a bottle, there's a whole nother production before it even gets to this bottle. It's a whole strategy behind it. So I think understanding that really led me to get more excited about the beverage alcohol space.
Right.
I'm Some people will say I'm a seasoned vet in the alcohol space. I would say I'm still a student. You know what I mean? Being from working with a major supplier like Pernod Ricard, shout out to Pernod Ricard. They taught me a lot. I learned a lot. Now I'm doing things with another supplier, and even just exploring other elements of the alcohol space, helping friends in their journeys in the alcohol space. And God willing, I'll launch my own product.
Mhm.
But in that alcohol space, it's so much out there because, like I said, I want to say this too. Like, there's a lot of people that have suffered from alcoholism, people that have family members that friends that passed away from alcohol, whether if it's you know intoxicated driving or anything like that. So I send love and respect and peace to everyone. And what I want to promote is drink responsibly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we could have a good time. If you've been with me, if you know me, we always gonna have a good time responsibly. I'm gonna make sure everybody get home safe. There's
Facts.
no craziness, nothing like that. But we always gonna have a good time. But you know, fast forward in the alcohol space, it's so much opportunity. It is something that we do consume responsibly, but it also kind of makes people think about like what they're drinking, what are the ingredients that goes into this, what is the quality, what is the aroma, what is the
Right.
flavor, what is the taste, pause, that people want to experience. You know what I'm saying? I think like that goes a long way, and I think there's so much to uncover in the alcohol space, for sure.
What would you say is your role in that space?
That's a great question because I ask myself that every day. I ask myself every day, okay, what is my why? What am I doing? But I think in the alcohol space for me, or what I live up to, is one, drinking responsibly first and foremost. Two, just taking people on a journey to try new things. I had friends that would be like, yo, I'm only a cognac drinker. I'm only a whiskey drinker. I don't drink vodka. I don't drink gin. I don't drink wine. I don't drink beer or anything like that. But I think having curiosity to try it and explore it is something really, really great. So I think one of my roles is to just bring people along the journey. I think bringing people along the journey to try different things, to understand that there's more that can suffice your palate, than what you've been drinking or what you've been taught or what you've been passed down to drink. Obviously responsible, but really just exploring your opportunities to learn new things. Just like it's almost like trying food. It's almost like looking at art. Alcohol is art, in my opinion. Alcohol is art. It's different things. Every alcohol bottle is pretty much different. Beer cans are different. You know what I mean? Flavors are different. Aromas are different. And I think there's so much to uncover on that front. And I think everyone should have, at least on their time on earth, try something.
Right.
Try it responsibly. It's gonna be shit that you like, shit that you don't like. And that's okay. That's okay. That's the whole point of experimenting. You wanna go out and identify your hypothesis. Hey, I want to try this. I hope I like it. You go through the experiment, then you go through the conclusion, and then you come up with your conclusion, and then you try something else different. Go through another experiment.
Right.
You know.
So, Dave, you know, I learned, and I'm a big wine and spirit guy myself, but you taught me so much about the behind the scenes of of the technicality of the wine and liquor industry, where it made me look at the way I consume um, wine and liquor when I go to the stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And can you tell the people the certain things? Let's start off with tequila. I remember you was telling me about when they go in the lab to make the tequila, the temperature has to be at a certain temperature. To make it, they have to warm the tequila or the wine
The
or all that
agaves. Yep.
stuff like
Yep.
that. Like talk about that. We can start with the tequila or the cognacs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Talk about those details that people don't even know, because
Yeah.
the average consumer, they just buying, but don't
Yeah.
understand the behind the scenes that go into
For
these
sure.
spaces.
For sure. I think, like, first and foremost, I am not a distiller. I am not a
Mhm.
master distiller. I am not any of that. I pay homage, to the folks that do that. But I've been blessed and grateful that I've been able to travel multiple places, visit multiple distilleries, multiple categories of the beverage alcohol industry: cognac, champagne, tequila, whiskey. I've been able to experience that, even vodka, even gin, to see how that is made. But I am no master distiller. I pay homage to those folks that do that. But I can tell you what I have observed and learned is that there is an art form to it. There is not a, hey, buy the bottle and you're gonna love it. There is criticalness, there is meticulousness, there is strategy, there's dedication to detail on how these things are produced. And I think, like, that doesn't get shown at the liquor store.
Right.
Shout out to all my liquor store owners, my bar and restaurant operators. But that detail doesn't get conveyed to the consumer. And this is no knock. Let's be clear. This is no knock, zero knock. But I think from my experience, and the question that you posed was, talk a little bit more about that. I think it's just, once again, going back to curiosity, just like, going back to understanding, asking questions, how things are made. I don't want to get off a tangent, but I love that show, How Things Are Made. It's science.
Yeah.
It's on the Science Channel.
Yeah.
At least on the Samsung shit that I got in my house.
For sure.
It's on the Science Channel.
Yeah.
I watch that shit. But how things are made, I think it's very important for people to understand the process of, one, ideation, two, maturation, and then three, execution. I think people just need to understand that and really appreciate that, because the products that are out here, that are in this world, they really took time and thought process behind it. And I think within the beverage alcohol industry, it's so much. And now, at least what I'm experiencing, is that there's so much more of just experimenting. Where you're taking an American oak barrel, letting mezcal tequila maturate in there. You know what I mean? These are experiments. This is not of the norm.
Right.
This is what people are doing just experimenting. Like, people are really, taking their hypothesis. How does this taste? What would I do if I make this happen? If I add this temperature, or if I add this element.
Right.
It's experimenting.
It's science.
It's science. At the end of the day, it's definitely science. So what I would say is that there's so much to uncover. There's so much to uncover. There's so much to really think about this beverage alcohol space. And as you go out to these bars and restaurants, hopefully we're talking to a 21 plus crowd. You know what I mean? 21 plus crowd, drink responsibly. My legal team would love that for me. But as you go out to these bars and restaurants, whether if you're at the high end restaurants and the high end bars and hotels, cool. Or whether if you in the cut in the hood, you know what I'm saying? I've been to those spots, you know what I mean? But just always appreciate, one, the bartenders. I think The bartenders
They
don't get a
enough
lot of
credit.
love.
They don't get enough credit.
They don't get enough credit. And all the homies that know me, bartenders, salute.
The right bartender show love, man. The right bartender show love.
Right bartenders show love. And to the bartenders that I know, salute. You already know what we doing. Salute. You know what I mean?
Salute.
I got to cheers for them. So a lot of, you know what I mean, we get on the camera, man. We gangster with it, man. Come on, man. You know what I mean? So back in the frame, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, long story short, I think like a lot of the bartenders, you know, as you talk to the staff, as you talk to the trade, you know, really engage with them. Ask them questions. You know, obviously if it's a high, busy bar, you know, you're not going to have enough time to ask questions. But if you're at a cocktail bar and it's slow, you look around, no one's here.
Talk to them.
Start engaging with the bartender. You know what I mean? I'm slipping on the bar right now. But when I got stuck in Miami, I was staying in Brickell. It was just one bartender that I got a chance to chop it up with. And, you know, she was super dope. And it was right next to my hotel. And she was just so appreciative that I had curiosity.
Right.
You know what I mean? She didn't know that I was in the beverage alcohol industry. She didn't know that at all. I didn't tell her that. I didn't say, oh, I'm in the beverage alcohol industry. Like, I didn't say that. I was just like, yo, asking questions.
Right.
You know, just conversing. And I think, like, she was just so intrigued. She started experimenting with different cocktails, with different, you know, finishes and things of that nature. And I was just so, you know, mesmerized by that. And I was appreciative, too, because she didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't have to do that. But it's just my curiosity. So I encourage everyone that's out here in these scenes, you know, ask questions, you know, experiment, you know, there's
because they really in the field.
Go ahead.
They really in the field.
Yeah, they really in the field. They really in the trenches. So for those that think they know it all, you know, I know some folks that do know it all and they still act like students.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just encourage everyone that's out here that may watch this interview, that may skim through this interview, that may land on this part of the interview. Go out to your bars, your local bartenders, dap them up, show them love, give them a nice tip, you know, ask questions. You know, of course, some bartenders may be a little, you know, they may not have a good day some days. You know what I mean?
They probably did when they boss.
Yeah, they may not have a good day, but like at the end of the day, you know, ask those questions, have curiosity, because I do think there's so much to really learn and uncover in this beverage alcohol industry. And that's why I'm here, man. I think, like, honestly, I'm just, you know, laying down the yellow brick road everywhere I go about this alcohol industry and just tell people to come along. Yo, you good, come through. You good, you on the list, you good, you on the list. Yo, security, they good, they with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I say that on the humble. You know what I'm saying? I'm very humble. All this stuff could be, you know, taken away from me. So I'm really humble in this moment. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing as I'm interested or curious that I want to know from your perspective is how, like, because we don't really see enough people of color, and especially us as black people, like, what is it like being a black man in this industry? Because it's not so many of us, you know, whether if it's like people that's making these wine and spirits, you know, or the marketing side and all this, we always the front man of in the pictures and the commercials, but we not behind the scenes. Talk about that. What is that like being a black man in the space, and and what is it? Yeah, what is it pretty much like in that perspective?
That's a really strong question, and I want to make sure I take my time with answering this.
For sure.
You know, because what is it like being a black man in the beverage alcohol industry? Now, if you ask several black men, it may be different. But for me, I would say one thing's first, research Tom Bullock. Tom Bullock. Look him up, Google him, the ideal bartender. This is racism at an all-time highest. You know,
wow, he got a book.
Yeah, we have the book. I got the book in the crib right here, right now. Yeah, I mean, so Tom Bullock, you know, look him up, and I would say, shout out to Tom Bullock. because he was the one that made the first official cocktail book before Prohibition.
Wow.
You understand? So a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of people don't know that. So Tom Bullock, the ideal bartender, make sure you if you look like me, grab the book. If you don't look like me, grab the book too. You dig? So Tom Bullock, you know, he was the pioneer of creating cocktails. He doesn't get that much credit. But I do want to shout out, you know, this ain't no plug, this ain't no sponsorship. I do want to shout out, a few people, Uncle Nearest, Fawn Weaver. They've done a really great job of really telling the story of Nearest Green. You know what I'm saying? So really telling that story about Uncle Nearest, and as you can see where they are today, Fawn Weaver and her team, they have a great distillery. Once again, this is no sponsorship, this is no plug. This is just me, black man in the beverage alcohol industry. I pay respects. But there are several other black-owned brands that are out here, and I think what they do an amazing job. Yes, funding may be hard. Yes, we know that. It's hard for us to go get a fucking loan from the bank if we want to buy a crib. We know that. You know what I mean? However, these folks have risen to the top and succeeded to make their brands be prominent and really stand up for people that look like us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And me being on the supplier side, the manufacturer side, I think it's so much more that needs to come into play. And I think where people that look like me, that are in the corporate sector, that are in the manufacturer sector, the supplier sector, we need to continue to embrace people that want to get into this industry that look like us. Because when I'm in these meetings, trust and believe, I'm in these meetings just like how I am. Ain't no code switching, none of that. But what I do say is that we need to be able to have a pipeline. It's the Olympics. We need to be able to pass the baton back to someone else, because we're not always going to be here. This interview is here for a moment. I'm going tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be able to pass the baton back. So the knowledge that I'm sharing with y'all is make sure that y'all in the loop. Make sure that y'all in the loop and really making sure that y'all showing respect to the trade, making sure that y'all supporting these black-owned brands, making sure that y'all asking questions, because that's what it's going to take to change the beverage alcohol industry. Trust and believe. I know Aaron's going to drop this interview. Reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Don't be like, oh, I don't know, da-da-da. Ask a question.
Or
Have
reach
curiosity.
out to me and I'll, we're
going to make the connection, B.
Yeah,
We're going to make the connection. Because it's all about that. Like, honestly, real rap, like, I'm so ingrained into this beverage alcohol industry. I've put my friends on to so many different alcohols. I've done events, the Art of the Cocktail, Break the Ice, where we have cocktails, patio sessions where we experience people, music, and alcohol drinks and trying different alcohols. Like, it's definitely a moment for people that look like us. And people that don't look like us, shout out to y'all. Just know that, we come in a respectful way, in an honorable way, and I think we got to help each other to understand this space, to that alcohol is okay, it's suitable. I know it has health factors. We want to make sure that people that drink responsibly, but in the meantime, we're doing things to provide for our families. We're doing things to, teach, folks that don't know anything about the alcohol industry, learn marketing materials, learn even finance. A lot of people don't understand, like, everyone thinks beverage alcohol is marketing. It's finance and having distribution. When I say distribution, making sure that your product is available wherever. If I live in Idaho and I want to get your product, make sure I need to be able to go to my liquor store and get that product.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So having distribution, having connections. But I say in closing, a person that looks like me, a black man in the beverage alcohol industry, I learned so much. I have been applying it. I have been passing the baton back, and I know that this beverage alcohol industry is going to be fruitful for my family in the future. That's what I feel, and that's what I believe.
That's amazing, man. Because you know, when you go more into when you start seeing the marketing side of things, when you start seeing a whole different perspective, and even having private conversations with you
Yeah,
about like, you know, these conversations, what's going on behind the scenes as far as like this and that, but it's mostly, you don't really hear us being in this field, and I'm glad that I'm interviewing this because this could inspire somebody to
yeah,
get in that field. Because me and you talked about it's like,
hundred
bro,
percent.
it's not chemists that's in this field that's look like us that's in this field. There's not, people, so much people in in different roles in this field. So I feel like this is and you could tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like this your why is inspiring people to feel that, back then, a lot of people feel like, oh, I can't get in that industry because
Yeah,
it's predominantly X, Y, and Z. But the, looking at you, people
yeah,
that look like you, or
yeah,
whatever the case may be, or when they even look at you, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I could do this,
yeah,
and that's a blessing, and that's from me, from being outside looking in. Not me being biased, me being your friend, but just
yeah,
outside looking in. It inspires me, like coming from where I come or where we
yeah.
come from.
Of course,
Like, you could do this shit.
of course. And I'll give you a real story. So one of my homies, before the pandemic, used to have me come speak and to like middle school and high school kids about like, career day and entrepreneurship and, being in the business world. And every time I used to walk into these rooms, I mean, yeah, I'm casual today, like, chilling in the crib. But like, I used to come in there with a t-shirt, some jeans, and some sneakers. Everybody always used to think that I was in the music industry. Everybody always used to think, yo, you in the music industry? Yo, you Big Sean and like, nah, I'm not. I'm none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, when I started telling my story about who I was and what I did and what I've been a part of, it started creating hope for these young fellas. You know what I mean? And I'm really so grateful that I was, able to instill an opportunity or at least a light to show them that you don't need to be a drug dealer, you don't need to be an athlete, you don't need to be a rapper. And trust and believe, don't get it twisted. All three of those, I know all of them. I
Right.
know the drug dealers, I know the
Right.
rappers, I know the athletes, I know them. You know what I'm saying? However, we shouldn't have to be confined to those three elements of being a black man in America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I told them what I did, marketing, e-commerce, they were like, yo, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know this field existed. You know what I mean? Or this opportunity was available to me. Listen, it is available to you. You know what I'm saying? It is available to you. You could definitely tap into this industry. You could the beverage alcohol industry, the fashion industry, marketing industry, wherever you want to go, legal industry. And I even think too, like there's not many, people that look like us that are master distillers. When it comes to the beverage alcohol space, um, or sommeliers, there's not many of us that look like us. I encourage everybody to dabble into that because we are the culture.
For sure.
We are the culture.
For
You
sure.
understand? Like we are the culture. So whatever we do is hot. You understand? Like whatever we do is fire. Like we add a different wave to everything. People could try it, they can't never try it like us. You know what I'm saying? They can't never do it like us. So I say like go out there and do it. Get involved. If beverage alcohol is not your space, that's cool. That's cool. Go out there into the fashion space. Go out there into the automotive space. Go out there into the legal space. Go out there
Engineering.
into the financial space. Make it your own real estate space. banking, whatever industry that you want to go into, go out there and do it, because you're only here for a moment. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody that said, yo, I'm 2,000 years old. You know what I mean? Like, people live to be, what, 120, give or take? You know, maybe 110, maybe 100. You know what I'm saying? But, like, during your time on this earth, man, you're in the present, so it's a gift. Go out there and just, you know, spread that gift, spread that joy, and go out there and try and have curiosity. That's the big thing, man. That's the big thing. That's what I would tell everybody to do beyond the beverage alcohol space. That's my calling. That's where I'm at with it. I'm enjoying it. You know, that's where my supreme being put me at. You know, that's where I'm chilling right now.
Right.
But for others that are on this journey of not knowing where to go or what to do or what should I do? Am I doing the right thing? Da da da. Have that, that I won't even call it anxiety, but just really having that moment where uncertainty.
Right.
Just go out there and try.
So,
Go out there and try.
in closing, what's next for Dave Lewis McArthur?
You see this, right? You see me pouring up, right?
No
disrespect.
Goddamn.
Listen, no. That's
light work. That's light work for you.
Nah, it's not even light work. Let me keep it a stack. This is something that we're brewing up. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, this right here? Okay. Oh, okay. Nothing crazy.
Hey. Nah, come on. We on camera. This the bloopers. This the bloopers right here. Look. This real right here. Right here in the cup. Bow. Look at that. Bow. You understand? So, let me tell you something. What's next? What's next is I'm always going to just count my blessings. That's next. Mm-hmm. I think the next after counting my blessings is just being a sponge, being a student, learning from people that have done it before, learning people that have failed before. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like people always want to follow people that have been, hey, they never failed. I think having failures is a big thing. And I say failures loosely. I don't want people to get the misconception that you should just fail in life. Like, that's not the case. You should always try and learn from it. You know what I mean? So what's next for me is, really staying humble, staying hungry, and really capitalizing on how I can be a beam and light for people that haven't stepped into this journey. How can I support the future? Because I'm only here for a moment. There's things that I don't know that the younger people know more than me. So I want to be able to at least say, all right, boom. This is all the information that I got right here. Boom. It's right here. I'm going to take all this information and I'm going to pass it to the future.
Right.
That's what I'm on. You dig? So I want to make sure that I'm able to do that, because our future generation is bigger than us. Yes, we're here for the time, we moving, we shaking, we on Instagram doing all the stuff. Cool. But at the same time, I want to make sure I'm being able to pass it back, because that's important. So I think what's next for me is becoming a better man. I'm getting married next year, so shout out to wifey. She holds it down.
Wifey, man.
I mean, she holds it down, babe,
soul.
girl, Nugs. She hold it down. I would even say just really tapping more into what I'm here to do on this earth. You dig? So I think that's really what's next for me. And then continuously sharing knowledge. I don't know everything. I don't act like I do. I don't want to act like I do. Even if I do know it, I don't want to act like I do. I still want to have curiosity. Because curiosity is going to take you so much further in life. It's going to make you appeal even more humble in front of people. It's going to make you appeal even more welcoming in front of people. Having curiosity is going to make you appeal, that someone can work with you. So you'll be more collaborative. You know what I mean? And I think, collaborative, you know, having that appeal of, hey, they want to learn, they want to be a student of the game, is going to take you so much further, as if you walk in as you know it, as you know everything. And I'm not saying, yo, let's be clear, I'm not saying that you should walk in there, I don't know anything. No, still spit your game, talk your shit. Don't
Right.
get it twisted. Spit your game, talk your shit. That's how it is. But at the same time, still be malleable. You know, still be able to be. I could still learn from you. Oh shit, you did that. Oh, I did that too. But I got this result. You got that result. Oh, I didn't know that that was the result that I could get. Having that curiosity. But next for me, product launching, being a better man, you know, saying my prayers every day, being a better friend, being a better brother, being a better son, being a better collaborator. You know, that's what's next for me. I just always want to try to elevate. I want to be better than I was yesterday. That's the big thing for me.
Right.
So that's what's next for me.
Well,
Dig?
I just want to say I appreciate you, Dave, for being part of this. You understand this means a lot to me. I know you for some time now, and every time I see you, it's nothing but love. And
Always.
and this is the reason it means so much to me, because you know the people that do view this,
Yeah.
you know, they get to see. They only get a glimpse, you know, however long this video is on the edit. It's like they only get a glimpse, but I know you, and you family to me, and this means a lot to me, and I'm glad that the people get to hear your mind.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the reasons why, like I told you earlier, the reasons why I do these interviews is because when we get old and we get to see our kids, and when we, you know, grandkids and stuff like that, we are able to show them our legacy or what we were thinking in that mindset at that
Yeah.
moment in time in our life.
Facts.
And and this is a blessing to me because, excuse me, and this is a blessing to me because I want people to you know, get inspired by you. You know, like you say, you don't post. You don't post.
I don't post. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do a post today.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. So this is me showing my love for you and showing my appreciation for you,
Right.
and letting people know who you are. And it's an honor that I'm here today with you and showcasing you. So I just want to let you know that, and thank you again.
Yo, no doubt, no doubt. Yo.
For sure. For sure. I can
Thank you.
No, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. Honestly, you know, thank you. First and foremost, thank you. I'm humble. I'm grateful that you were able to, one, think of me. I know you have a Rolodex of people that you could have been like, yo, what's up? I'm in New York, blah, blah, blah. But for you to think of me, bro, thank you. Real talk. And for the folks that will receive this, that may receive this, yo, just an open book, bro. You know, we all are just open books. We're all just icebergs. You know, we got the facade, whether that be social, Twitter, whatever. But so much more is underneath of us. You know, so we need to uncover what's possible, because you're only here for a short, long time, if that makes sense.
Like our homie say, family, not a group.
Hey, shout out to Casey, you know, Bricks and Woods, family, not a group. So you already know.
Amen.
You know, so it's always love, Aaron. Thank you so much. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to everybody in Florida. I get love in Florida. I love Florida. You guys always show me a good time. You guys always charge up my tab too. So, but it's all good. The tab is paid. The bar is open. You know, the tab is open. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Florida. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to everybody out there. So Aaron, thank you so much. Shout out to JC, Filthy, you know what I'm saying? Baj. Listen, we still got the whole collection in the crib. Don't trip.
Sir. Yes,
you know
sir.
what I'm saying? We got the buckets, we got the hats, we got all of that. We got the t-shirts, all of that. Even my shorty got stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Sir. Yes,
so
sir.
Don't even trip. So I just want to say, Aaron, thank you. Listen, you're in New York City. New York City is your home. I wish you the best on everything that you do, your photography, even your arts, even your mind. Like, let your mind run free, bro. Like, straight up, like, have a good time. You only here for one time. Have a blast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I know you got school coming up. Continue with that. Kill it. Rock it. You know, whatever you do for graduation, we coming with a bottle. So
Yes,
salute,
sir.
man.
Yes,
salute.
sir.
Thank you, bro.
Much
I'm gonna pour
love.
us up out of here, and
And we out.
that's what we on. Salute.
Amen.